Welcome to another episode of the You Speak English podcast. Thank you for hitting that play button and subscribing to our podcast channel. In today's episode, as it is the first of the year, we are going to talk about New Year's resolutions. But first, let's say hello to our CEO and founder, George Gardea. Hello, George. How's it going?
Hi, Casa. I am very excited. This is our very first podcast of 2022. I think this will be so much fun and hopefully educational. Our goal ever since we started You Speak English has always been to help people learn English. Thanks to everyone who is listening, and you're welcome to jump in our weekly podcast. We'll be sharing different experiences, tips, and talks on different topics aimed to help you improve your English skills.
Right. And
Yeah.
let's introduce, thank you, George, and Javier. How is it going?
Hey, guys, good to see you guys again. It's been a long holiday, right?
Yes, it
Always
has
fun to be
been.
had. Love you to have me. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, George.
As we all know, 2021 was a year of many challenges. All I can say now is that I'm thankful for being here, and I'm also hopeful. I think we are now more prepared to face challenges than the previous 2 years. We can actually say it's not our first rodeo. I have plans for 2022, and I just want to approach them in a different way from what I have learned these 2 last years. I'm saying it's not going to be easy, but I'm very hopeful that we've learned and that we'll be able to do lots of things. Okay, we'll have lots of resolutions and lots of plans for this year.
Right. Great attitude for starting the year. What about you, Javier?
I think it's going to be the same, despite the fact that it was a really bad year last year. Everybody's still hacking through COVID. I think the future is online. Everybody that wants to go back to face, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to just get out there, So I think we should take advantage of what's coming up next in terms of technology and what it's available for us. Right. Even doing exercise at home. I love to work out. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to the gym pretty soon. I'm going to have to hit the weights and give me a punching bags. So in terms of that, I think we're going to have to take use of whatever is good for us available. But the most important thing is the motivation. That if you can think you can do it and you're disciplined enough to keep at it, I think you can make it through.
Right. Yes, I am on board with you guys about what's the new challenge of doing everything online. Even Zumba classes are online now.
Right.
Yes, and I don't enjoy working out as much, but everything else I enjoy doing online. Actually, it's always a challenge to keep motivated working online and teaching as we do online. It's always hard, but I think we're gonna make it. So I would like to start by reading a definition for New Year's resolutions. Are you up for it, guys?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, a New Year's resolution is a tradition most common in the Western world, but also found in the Eastern world, in which a person resolves to continue good practices, change an undesired trait or behavior, accomplish a personal goal, or otherwise improve their life at the start of the new year. The Romans began each year by making promises to the god Janus, from whom the month of January is named after. Janus is the god of beginnings, gates, traditions, time doors, and endings. So the tradition was carried out through centuries until now, which is when we continue to make our New Year's resolutions. Most of us go with the flow and promise to start a new workout or nutrition program, whereas others tend to go for the self-development and decide to venture or to go into a learning adventure. And this is what we're talking about specifically because we are teachers and we are learners also. So we're going to talk about learning something as a New Year's resolution. I think for teachers, this is a must. What do you think, George?
Yeah, absolutely. It's never ending, especially when it comes to education, which is intimately connected with technology. One could not do with the other. For instance, Katza, can you imagine what schools, teachers, and students would have done had it not been for the internet and the educational technology in the past pandemic or in the current pandemic? It would have been disastrous.
It
So,
would have, yeah.
yeah, I think many schools and teachers who had been resistant to technology before the pandemic, either they're out of business now or had to jump on the wagon.
Right.
Fortunately for us here at Uspk, we had already been teaching online years before the pandemic hit, and we were not unprepared. Okay,
Right.
this does not mean that we are where we want in terms of technology. Okay, so I think what we're aiming is to integrate our platform. I'm sure you've heard about this, and it's something that it's very recurrent right now in vocabulary on online. Social media is the word metaverse.
Right. Yes.
We do have to start looking into this, and this is one of our plans to look into it and start experimenting with it. What we understand of this new technology is compared to having a time machine and going back to the 70s and trying to explain the internet to somebody back in the 70s. Can you imagine? They wouldn't understand what we're talking about. They would look like at us as, are you crazy or what? So
Right.
yeah, this is how it is. Some will resist for sure. Okay, but we will but we can't stop progress whether we like it or not. So yeah, there are lots of plans for us here at the school in terms of technology and always improving. So yeah, this is just a general overview of what's coming up next for us here at school.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Javier?
I totally agree that the technology is available for us. They have to be taken advantage of. You reminded me of a workshop that I attended back in the 2000s. When everyone was still going to workshops and updating ourselves. And there's a great trainer that I really admire. Her name's Irene Schoenberg. She did mention something that was kind of the topic for that day, whether teachers would lose their job over technology. And I really recall her answer saying, that it wouldn't be a loss of teachers who are losing their job, but teachers who did not take advantage of technology would be at loss over the ones who did. I think we have to keep up with the times and take advantage of any kind of tool that would be relevant in terms of helping us teach our students. Like George mentioned, we've been doing this for a while. When the pandemic struck, everybody had to pretty much was pushed into online. And I think that one of the biggest complaints I heard from students or from other people that were online is like the class was boring. The class was just too long. 1 hour is just too long. It's too much. Whereas we had no problem at all. And we still don't have any problem at all in the sense of we already had a structure. We had a syllabus related to that, and we had explored multiple options in terms of broadcasting our classes across the internet to our students. So in that regard, I think we everybody that can do that, has a leg up in terms of teaching and taking advantage of what we have.
Right. Yes. It was always a struggle for a lot of people, not only teachers, but also students to adapt to online classes. And they're always like, no, I want to go back to face. But like George said in the beginning, I think it's going to be tough to go back to where we were. Basically also because the world evolves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What about your New Year's resolution, guys? Do you have any particular interest for learning something new in 2022? George?
In 2022. All right. Okay. I think we're going to have to. Okay, here. We're going to have to edit this part because I had moved it a little bit. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Yes, absolutely. Katsa, on a personal level, I'm taking up carpentry as a hobby on weekends, or at least I think I am. I've always had a niche for it, and I've made some things, not too many that I can be too proud to show off, but I'll try my best to learn and make some decent projects. I know my wife has already made a list of things that she wants me to make for the house. I think I need to clarify to her, it's a hobby, not a livelihood yet. Yeah, she's already got, I want this, I want that, She thinks I'll have all the time in the world, but let's see how this goes. Also, I want to get more, I want to get, a second, project I have, something, interest for 2022 is I also want to get into more into meditation and the different techniques there are. The main reason is to bring more peace and focus in my life.
Right.
I have been doing meditation, or what I think meditation is, from the different, techniques and from what I've learned on YouTube. But I do want to take it a step further. I don't know if I would have managed these 2 last years and all the craziness that, we had and we're still having with this pandemic, had it not been for meditation. I think, it helped me a lot to focus and to stay sane. So I do want to learn more. It's helped me a lot. It's helped me a lot, during these last 2 years. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very useful. I think the carpentry is going to help you focus a lot more also. And you'll find that there is a meditation technique where you meditate while you do something specific. So I think if you mix both, it's going to be amazing. What about you, Javier? What is your New Year's resolution for learning something?
That's a good one. I think other than the fact of getting in shape, because this holiday season's eatings got to me. I think I overdid it.
To all of us.
To all of us.
Yeah.
No, I really want to get back in shape, and I'm not sure if I'm going back to the gym just yet. But I have started running. Actually, started running yesterday. And here in Guadalajara, where we're transmitting from, has a great park that I had never seen yet. The Columbus. I don't know if you guys heard of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, beautiful place. Just you gotta get up there more often. Getting in shape is one like most everyone. I do have the discipline. I don't know if I have the time. I'll have to make somehow. I'll have to make time.
Yeah.
But in terms of on a professional level, I am a teacher trainer aside from being the academic coordinator at Uspk here, and I would like to see a way, of reading up more on how I can transmit things that I know, because George and I have over a 35-year experience in the teaching field, and that's 35 him and 35 me, not to put together. Okay, we both started out many years ago when actually I think teacher training was a lot easier. It's a little bit more complicated in terms of getting people and getting the right people for the project that you want. The door is open in terms of the online teaching has opened up the world to different possibilities. We have, for example, we have you in Mexico City,
Yes.
and we have other people in the United States teaching for us at the same time, which is a great thing. And I am so lucky to have lived this. But nevertheless, not everyone has the experience that George and I do. And you, Katsa, you've been in the field for a long time. We can vouch for that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see a way if we can structure things in such a way that it make it easier for the students. I think I do believe I'm a strong believer that English is not hard to learn. It's just a matter of who's teaching it to you. You probably hate English because you had a bad teacher. I can raise your hand, send me a message if you totally agree. So in terms of that, I hope we can reach that goal this year.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Getting in shape is important. I should perhaps consider that one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
Gotta run.
Yeah, and then for me, it's going to be like I'm taking courses for learning how to be a voiceover and a speaker, and I think that's going to be so helpful for my teaching experience also, because I'm going to learn things that might help my students be more confident, and I want to transmit that to them. So I'm taking that as starting January 18th. So I'm excited about that.
Wow.
Yes.
All right, all right.
Congrats. Woo.
Yes, and perhaps doing radio spots and TV spots, and for commercials.
Well, you certainly got the voice for it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And the experience. So,
Sure.
Thanks.
yeah, it's going to be great. Good.
So yeah, 2022 is full of hopes and resolutions, but I do have a question, guys. Why do you think we always set out to do something as a New Year's resolution, then we stop? George.
Well, yeah, I think you just mentioned the word a little while ago. I think the key word here is hope. It's like getting a second chance every year. What we once set our minds to do, but never actually achieved most of the time.
Right.
The new year offers a blank slate, an opportunity to get things right when we set New Year's resolutions. Okay, this was mentioned by master's in education in this school. It's a wellness. It's let me remember. Yeah, it's a family cancer wellness center at Pittman. It's in Georgia. And he mentioned this, that, we are utilizing a very important concept called self-efficacy, which means that by virtue of aspiring to a goal and following on it, I have a sense of control over what's happening in my life. So basically it's a reset. I think, we every year, we realize that we did achieve some of our goals and we didn't, but it's always with a sense of hope every year. Like, I hope this year I am able to accomplish this. I think so. I think it's part of human nature. It helps us, maintain hope, stay focused too. Well, sometimes. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
What about you, Javier? Why do you think we always set
You
out
know,
to and then stop?
I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson because he's a clinical psychologist, and Jordan mentions that it's more about expectations. It's more about I should be able to be doing this after a certain amount of time. Everybody wants to lose 5 pounds in 5 days, and keep it going for the rest of the month. And it's all about what you set out to do, and then reaching, instead of looking at the long-term goal as opposed to like short-term goals, little milestones, if you may. I myself started running because I need the cardio. A couple of years back, I started getting into boxing, and I realized that if you don't have the cardio in boxing, forget it. I don't care how hard you punch, you're not going to last a couple of rounds. So believe me, guys, I hate running. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something I enjoy, but it is the
Wow.
fastest, most effective way to get cardio.
Right.
All right. So
Mhm.
I've learned that if I set myself out to run 5K, I'm not gonna make it. I gotta learn to start, running for 10 minutes, 15 minutes every day, then set out for 20 minutes. But I do have realistic goals. And I think that's the biggest failure in terms of expectations. People have this certain amount of goals that they want to meet. Part of it must be, and I highly attribute it to social media in general. People in general that teach English say, learn to speak English in 3 months. And 3 months later, you're like, shouldn't I be speaking English already? You'll master it in 9 months. And well, shouldn't I be able to teach it in 1 year? I've been, and we do get a lot of people like that, believe it or not, that they've been here, they've been in school A and school B and school C, and they're not what they want to be. And to me, that's heartbreaking. I mean, I don't want to dramatize, guys, but it is heartbreaking that they were told something. They made them realize an expectation of themselves afterwards, and they did not meet it. The expectations were not met, which is extremely shattering for a person that has a personal goal. Think about it yourself. If you think it's 365 days, if I lose half a kilo, I should be done by the end of the year, right? No,
we should.
It's the weight loss as much as learning is not linear. Everybody knows that, but I don't know if everybody accepts that. So
Exactly.
it's a matter of keeping at it, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I
All
started
right.
yesterday. I'm gonna take the 2 days off because I got work to
1
do.
minute every day.
1 minute, I'm gonna keep at it. It's all about your expectations and your attitude, and mostly discipline. I think nowadays we're not as disciplined as we used to be.
Right,
All
right,
right. Okay. Interesting.
right. So, George, what is one thing people in general want to learn at the beginning of the year?
Well, if people want to do lots of things. Learning is one of them. Yeah, it's one of the top ones. I've been reading recently different articles on this. Yeah, the typical ones, like Javier just mentioned: exercise more, lose weight, get organized, live to the fullest, save more money, quit smoking, spend more time with family and friends, travel more. But the favorite one of the favorites is learning something new, a new skill. And one of them is learning a new language. All right.
Yes.
Learning a new language is one of the top ones. So yeah, it's one of the favorites, and fortunately for us, it is one of the the favorite ones.
The favorite ones,
Yeah,
right?
learning a new language. All right. Yeah.
Do you agree with George on those
Totally. I
top
think
10?
that Maslow's hierarchy of needs mentioned that aside from the fact that you have basic levels met, food, water, shelter, you need to excel on a social level. So everybody wants to make a better income. Who doesn't? Everybody wants a better car, wants a better place to live, wants a better future for their kids, if you may. And that requires preparation. You're not going to get paid better if you're doing the same thing, or if you're the same asset to the company. If you're not a better asset to your company where you are, well, you're not going to be valued as much.
Right.
And I think that in that aspect, that people are perfectly aware that English is part of it. It's lingua franca. It's what we use worldwide to communicate. A couple of years ago, I remember one of my students mentioned, like, Javier, forget English. We've got to learn Chinese because the Chinese are moving up in the world. They're conquering the world. You want to try learning Chinese? Have you tried it? Let me give you a little story there. I had actually one of my students in the company where he worked. There was a person that was traveling back and forth to China and Mexico, and he offered to teach him Chinese for free.
Wow.
Free. I'm not kidding. What's it called? Simplified Chinese. If you may call that. I think to me that sounds like a pun. Simplified Chinese.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he told me that they gather about 15 people. It was supposed to be taught after work, 1 hour every day. Can you guess how long that course lasted?
1 week.
2 weeks, actually. 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Free Chinese classes, and by the second week, nobody was there.
Yeah, it was free.
So I don't know how hard Chinese is, but I think we can make English a little bit more easier for them. And that's
very encouraging for Chinese learning.
I know.
It's sad, but I actually watched a video on Chinese culture, because I think I do agree they have a leg up on a lot of stuff that we don't. They do have discipline. They're highly industrious people, and they do have English classes 3 times a day. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
3 hours a day. They have it in the morning. They have it at noon, but they go from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. That's school for them. Okay, there's no afternoon shift. That they go like 12, 13 hours to school on a daily basis. Yeah. So you take that to heart. Okay.
I shall never complain about school schedules ever again.
Well, and everything's there. They're fed. They do physical education. They get PE. But one of the, what I thought was highly interesting was the fact that they have language 3 times a day.
Wow.
Now
we know why they have all this progress, in such a short time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
Unbelievable.
They know how to invest. They know how to invest, and one of them is education.
Wow.
Oh gosh, awesome, dear. Awesome for them.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
What, George? What tips can you give our audience about keeping your New Year's resolutions?
I don't know if I'm the right person in terms of giving resolution.
It's what has worked
Yeah,
for you.
but just I can mention a couple, some that have worked for me, and it's just like Javier mentioned a while ago. I think first you got to mentally prepare for the change. You do have to be honest with yourself. What for instance, what did I set out to do last year? Did I make any progress? Where didn't I see the progress? And stay positive. Stay positive. I think that's key. Stay positive. uh don't watch. One thing that's worked for me for years is don't watch too much news.
Oh yeah.
When has news been positive? It's always bad news. So I think the more you watch bad news, you get into this negative vibe, and your hopes start, all your dreams and resolutions, you start questioning yourself. Oh, why? You don't do it consciously, but you might start thinking or feeling, why should I have all these plans and resolutions? After all the things I've heard on the news, there's no future. So
Right.
that's one. I think Javier mentioned that your change should be gradual. Don't expect to make enormous changes the first week of January or second week of January. Another one I could say is set a goal that motivates you, something that really, really motivates you, something that's important to you and only for you. All right. It's something that is that there's value and benefit for achieving the goal for you, not your boss, not your spouse, not your friend, just for you. All right.
Right.
I also think, don't go crazy and make a list of 20 or 30 resolutions. Keep it short and simple and important. If it's two, it's two, but stick to them. If
Right.
it's two resolutions of this year, just stick to them. I think you also need to be specific in what you want. Articulate the resolution as clearly as possible. For example, quitting smoking is better than just saying being healthy. So I think you do have to be specific what you want. Break down your goals. Javier mentioned it. If you're setting out to run by the end of the year 10K, well, probably the first month you'll do 1K, second month's 2K. So break it down so you can see progress, and this will keep you motivated. I think it's also, you need to be reminded about your goals because you can lose focus of what you want. So write down your goals. I know it sounds like everybody says write them down. Yeah, but I think it does work. You can put a post-it somewhere, something like when people put those, I don't know if you've seen it, people put post-its or things on the fridge, like with your weight. So every time you want to open the fridge and eat something, it'll remind you of your weight. So, red flag. So I think it's important to write down your goals and keep them visible. Don't hide them in the notebook and put them in your drawer, but keep your goal, write them down and keep them visible.
Right.
Another one I think is share your goals or resolutions with others. There's a saying like that goes, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Right.
So I think so. Some warning here. You do have to be careful who you share your resolutions with, your goals. Try to find somebody who thinks like you, somebody who's positive, somebody who will support you and motivate you. As where, if you're going to share your goals and your dreams and your hopes with somebody who's totally negative, it's not going to be very helpful. This person might say, why? We're all going to die. So I think you do need to share your resolution with somebody who will be there for you, supportive, and keep you on track. I think so. I think, if you share it with somebody, it'll give you a sense of obligation and accountability. Essentially, if you don't follow through, you're going to let everyone down. So yeah, I mean, this sense of guilt of not doing something is sometimes even more powerful than the motivation that you initially had. Just say you say, well, now I have to do it because I told the rest of the world I'm doing it. Now I got to do it. So I
Yeah,
think
somebody's
that,
watching.
yeah, somebody's watching me. I told them I was going to do this. Now I have to do it.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think so. I think those would be some of them. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Javier? Do you have
I
any
totally
tips?
agree. Totally agree with you with George. You gotta set yourself out with goals, but goals that are attainable. Um, it also depends on you. Depends how you can take criticism. I can take a lot of criticism without, taking it to heart. I will tell people, hey, I'm taking a boxing, and then people will ask me about it. And, but I'm also very disciplined. It depends a lot on you. If you're not very disciplined, there's apps, there's alarms, there's Google calendars that will remind you. I know a lot of people that will say, I'm going to start doing this every day. I promise you, Javier,
Uh,
I'm going to start using my my applications every day. And then I ask them later on, how's it going? Like, oh, I keep forgetting. Well, there's another app that will remind you for it. And then, I actually have one student that she told me this year I'm going to give you. Let me go back a little bit there. We have a technique here at Uspeak where students actually can look at a reading with audio. And well, I'm not going to make it too long. There's some steps to follow there, but in the end, you get to record yourself. You get to
Right.
send it to a teacher, one of our teachers, or myself, and I'll give you feedback on it. And I'll tell you exactly where you're going wrong, and you can try again. You can pay more attention to it. That way you get more attention to detail. It really does help a lot in terms of your pronunciation and fluency. So this person told me, I'm going to do three stories per day. And I said, no, don't do three stories. Do one that's good. I know you. I know you're a very busy person. She's a mom. She's a grandma. And I know your lifestyle. I know. Just set yourself up for something that you can actually accomplish. But there's no point in doing 5 assignments wrong. If I'm going to throw them all back to you, do one that's
yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah.
A lot of
Right.
people, yeah,
Totally.
but also you gotta have some kind of commitment. The gym that I used to go to for boxing closed down due to COVID. They couldn't get back on their feet. And I missed that because it was walking distance. I could just walk.
Oh man.
The guy was really, really nice to me. I use that analogy nevertheless, in terms of he was very strict with me, in terms of punching, paying attention, putting my guard up. He was very, very strict with me. And at first I thought, wow, this guy's really mean to me. Why is he being mean? I'm paying him, It was very strict because he wanted perfection, But off the ring, he was a really nice person. So you got to take into heart what is it that works for you. Some people need a very strict coach, a very strict teacher that pushes them. And some people you need a person that they can identify with. That works a lot with me. Some of my teachers that in high school I identify with and that I actually model myself after were people that were funny and they were easygoing, and they made me pass stuff that I hated. And I actually passed algebra this way because the teacher that I had, Mr. Montrella, if you can hear me, I doubt it, but again, great guy, incredible personality, just made me like math, So find the right person, that can coach you in that sense. Find a place where you feel comfortable. Sometimes find a technique. The teaching is very wide and varied in terms of the methodology that we can actually use. Find a place where you feel comfortable there. You say, this works for me. Also, for some people, investing, like large investment, works for them. I have a friend that used to go to the gym, and he bought a lot of protein powder, a lot, a lot of big investments. So he wouldn't drop out of the gym. He already bought this protein powder, so he better go to the gym. Yeah. I bought the gloves. I bought my own gloves. They were not cheap, but it made me want to go because I already invested in myself. So if it's something that's very cheap, there you might find a cheap teacher or a cheap school. You're probably going to drop out because you don't have that commitment to say, wow, you're like, well, if I stop going, I didn't lose a lot of money. You have to find something that's not too expensive, not too cheap, something within your range, but that you can actually commit to, and that's quality. A lot of people go like, well, this guy's cheaper, but he's probably gonna be quality, and that's very demotivating.
Yeah.
When you think because you're gonna get someone that's easier, closer to your school. Now, let me tell you, I have to go to another gym that's not really far close to my house, but and it's a little bit more expensive, I have to admit. But the coach knows what he's doing. It's much, much better coaching. He pushes me along, which, like I said at the beginning, I can hack being pushed. Depends a lot on you. Depends. You have to analyze yourself.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Cool.
All right. Okay, guys. So let's do our wrap up. George, would you like to say something before we end this podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I just like to thank you for tuning in. I hope this has been helpful, and I'm sure we will be improving every single week. And if there's a topic you'd like us to talk about, just send us a message. It was just great being able to share our thoughts with you guys, and thanks, and see you here in our next podcast.
Right.
Javier, would you like to say something before we wrap up?
I'd love to have you guys always. You guys are so much fun to talk to. You guys are great people. And I hope the people that are listening to us also can take advantage of any kind of advice we can give you guys. We're here to help you guys at all. This is what we do. This is what I love doing. I know you guys do too. That's why I'm here with you guys.
Yeah.
And please take advantage of us. We love what we do. And if there's any way we can help you, bring us up.
As a teacher, I can tell you that you can take advantage of this podcast and maybe do a vocabulary list or listen to the podcast and try to learn new things, try to follow what we said here. And this will be so helpful for your listening skills and also to learn a lot more about what or when or how you can use English. Okay, this is it for today. Thank you to all of our audience out there. Thank you, George and Javier. And to you guys, please subscribe to our channel. And if you like this podcast, please share it with all your friends. Also visit our social media on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube. You can find the video version of this podcast. All right. Thank you, guys. Until next time.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye, guys.